more likely to protect what we understand and what we love and adore than what we have no interaction or understanding of. Wilderness is rapidly disappearing everywhere in the world. Being able to document how it is now is incredibly important to further tell the story of how special that is and to perhaps get people engaged in protecting it. Art can be a great vehicle for that kind of conversation. I grew up in a hectic household of 3 brothers, and art was sort of this creative escape from that wild, noisy place. I learned how to snowboard on my brother's old board. It was easily 2 feet over my head. All the people that snowboarded were the guys in my school, and all they wanted to do was go in the park, so that's where I went too. I was doing a lot of rail jams, I was doing a bit of slopestyle, and I thought that that would be my career in snowboarding. And the long story to that is essentially you break yourself off enough times, you find yourself on the surgeon's table telling you you're never gonna snowboard or let alone run again. For a long time, art and snowboarding in my life existed in 2 silos. And the 2 never connected until I started taking my materials with me into the backcountry while I was splitboarding. I filled my gear with my sketchbook and art supplies as a way to handicap myself back to the ground. I thought maybe I wouldn't jump off of anything if my pack was super heavy. It was a great way to not only be engaged in splitboarding, but to also be engaged in the creative side and fueling the curiosity of how do you make marks that capture this experience in the backcountry and visually tell the story of where you were and how it felt to be there. I'm so enamored with this place that I live that I can't help but create artwork that celebrates that, both the journey to and from and also just being within that space. The line work that I do started as just leaning into a playful practice called a single line drawing. So essentially every time you start a drawing, once the pen touches the paper, it never comes up until you're complete. It's almost like a visual diary on how I see the world, and it allows you to practice patience and being present. One of the things that inspires me to continue on with guiding and progress in the mountains is to show girls and kids that females belong there. When I got into snowboarding, my role models were dudes. They were the guys around me snowboarding. A lot of the rail jams and competitions I went to didn't even have a women's category. It's like we didn't exist. And just by being there, you show that not only you exist, but you have stake in it. And you can really start to push things forward. I never wanted to be a landscape painter. I didn't think that the world needed another Bob Ross, and I didn't want to be one of those. What I think I missed is their explorers first. They go out to paint landscapes and they haul their gear with them because they're enamored by place and they can't help but create something that shares that. That's beautiful.
Never a dull moment, okay?
This whole change in my art practice started with just being curious what would happen if I brought a sketchbook with me on a hike. It's completely changed the way I look at art. It's completely changed the way I share my affection for landscape and for adventure. It's completely changed who I am as a human being. It's allowed me a different way of communicating that isn't just language or isn't just writing. It's through expression in a visual form of a rad day in the backcountry.
Bones!
That was sick.